Dr. Evelyn Carter had spent most of her life peering into the abyss. A deep space researcher specializing in black holes, she had always found comfort in their silent, consuming presence, mathematical perfection amidst the chaos of the universe. That changed when her latest observation picked up something impossible. The lab aboard the Oblivion Station, a remote research outpost orbiting a supermassive black hole, was equipped with quantum sensors capable of detecting gravitational waves and cosmic radiation. But now the monitors displayed something else, an anomalous frequency pattern echoing from the event horizon. At first, it was just static. Then came the sound, a scream, faint but unmistakably human. The voice carried across an impossible distance, distorted and layered with static. Evelyn's fingers hovered over the controls. "That's not..." She hesitated, her voice barely above a whisper. This had to be a data corruption, an interference pattern, or some unknown cosmic phenomenon. But as she adjusted the filters, isolating the signal, the scream sharpened into something undeniable. Multiple voices. Thousands. "Dr. Carter?" The voice of her AI assistant, HAL-7, chimed in. "Your heart rate has increased significantly. Should I..." She cut it off, swallowing hard. "Log this frequency. Continue scanning." But deep down, she already knew. She was about to find something she wished had stayed lost in the void. The next 3 days were filled with analysis. Evelyn barely slept, listening to the recordings over and over again. Each iteration revealed something worse. At first, the voices seemed random, chaotic bursts of pain. But as she ran them through the lab's quantum decryption algorithms, a pattern emerged. The screams weren't just noise, they were words. "Help us." The phrase sent ice down her spine. The voices were overlapping, layered like a symphony of agony. No cosmic event could explain this. A gravitational singularity could not transmit anything but destruction. She replayed the most recent transmission. The screams intensified, the voices blending into a single distorted plea. Then, for the first time, she heard something new. A guttural, growling sound beneath the voices. Something listening. Her breath hitched. It wasn't just an echo of suffering. Something else was out there, watching, waiting. The station lights flickered. Evelyn's stomach twisted as the darkness seemed to stretch longer than a simple power fluctuation should allow. When the backup generators kicked in, the laboratory felt colder. She turned to the main observation window, staring into the black hole's swirling accretion disk. For a split second, she thought she saw movement, something shifting just beyond the event horizon. A shape. Impossible. She rubbed her temples. Lack of sleep. That had to be it. But as she returned to her console, HAL-7's voice interrupted her thoughts. "Dr. Carter, an anomaly detected in the station's structure." She frowned. "Clarify. The walls are moving." Her blood ran cold. She turned, and what she saw nearly made her scream. The smooth metallic walls of the station rippled, warping like liquid, stretching as if something was pressing against them from the other side, trying to get in. Evelyn staggered back, her mind refusing to process what she was seeing. The warping walls pulsed, and for the briefest moment, something pressed through. A malformed appendage, black as the void, with tendrils twitching as if tasting the air. A high-pitched frequency surged through the lab, making her ears ring. The signal, the screams, were growing louder. The black hole wasn't just emitting them. It was bringing something here. "HAL-7, emergency lockdown. Seal the lab," she gasped. The AI obeyed, but the station groaned as the anomaly spread. Shadows lengthened unnaturally, twisting like living things. Evelyn turned and saw her own reflection in the observation window. It wasn't her. Her doppelganger had sunken eyes, its mouth stretched into a silent scream, its face melting into an abyss. and it was reaching for her. The moment her reflection's fingers touched the glass, Evelyn's vision fractured. She was no longer in the lab. Instead, she stood in a vast, featureless void, an endless expanse of blackness. The air was thick, heavy with whispers that gnawed at her sanity. She turned, and they were there. Figures just like her, but twisted, broken, their faces frozen in agony. Some were missing eyes, their sockets bleeding darkness. Others had mouths stretched too wide, filled with jagged teeth. They reached for her. "Help us." She stumbled back, but the void had no walls, no escape. Then the darkness shifted. Something vast loomed above her, a shape with no true form, its mass writhing, folding in on itself, an entity of absolute hunger. She understood now. The black hole wasn't just a cosmic phenomenon. It was a door, and something had been waiting on the other side for a long, long time. Evelyn's body convulsed as she was thrown back into her lab, crashing onto the cold metal floor. The walls were still shifting, the station trembling as if the black hole itself was pulling it apart. The entity was coming through. Her hands trembled as she reached for the emergency purge controls. There was only one way to stop this. If she ejected the station's core into the black hole, the resulting energy surge might destabilize whatever this was. HAL 7, override all safety protocols. Initiate core detachment. Warning, this will destroy the station. "I know," she screamed. The tendrils were inside now, curling along the walls, reaching toward her. Faces formed in the shifting mass, faces of the others who had been taken before her. She slammed her fist down. A deafening roar filled the station as the core detached, spiraling toward the Singularity. Then silence. Evelyn woke to the sound of her own breathing, shallow and ragged inside the cramped escape pod. The soft hum of life support was the only thing keeping her company as she floated through the infinite blackness. The station was gone. Oblivion Station, her home, her work, her entire reality had been consumed. The last thing she remembered was the energy surge from the detached core spiraling toward the Singularity. Then, nothing. Her fingers trembled as she activated the pod's external cameras. The black hole was still there, its gravitational tendrils swirling endlessly, as indifferent as ever. No sign of the station, no anomalies, no monstrous entities clawing at reality. Just the void. Had she won? She exhaled shakily, leaning back against the pod's interior. Her muscles ached, her mind clouded with exhaustion. Yet something still felt wrong. She turned, catching her reflection in the cracked glass of the pod's control panel. Her face was there, pale, drawn, her eyes sunken from the lack of sleep. Normal. But when she reached up, a sharp pain bloomed in her forehead. Her fingers brushed against something unnatural, a deep, pulsing indent, like the pull of an event horizon. Evelyn gasped and yanked her hand back. The sensation lingered, a strange weight settling into her skull. The whispers had stopped. The things that lurked beyond the veil were gone, but they had left something inside her. Her breathing quickened. Number 8 was just her mind playing tricks, the aftermath of trauma. She needed medical attention, rest. She needed Earth. She turned back to the console, forcing herself to focus. The escape pod's trajectory had already been pre-programmed. A distress beacon pulsed in the interface, sending automated signals across light years. Someone would find her. And yet, her stomach twisted. Something inside her told her that going back was wrong. She should have died in that station. The thought came unbidden, and it sent a shiver down her spine. She shook her head. Number. She was alive. She had survived something incomprehensible. That meant something, didn't it? Her gaze drifted back to the cracked glass, and then it moved. Her reflection smiled, but she hadn't. Evelyn's breath caught in her throat. She slowly lifted a trembling hand, touching her cheek. In the reflection, her doppelganger mimicked the motion, except it was just a fraction too slow. The reflection's lips twitched unnaturally, stretching wider, the corners of its mouth curling too far. "You brought us back." The whisper came from inside her skull. Evelyn jerked back, slamming against the pod's side. Her reflection did not move. It simply watched her now, its eyes sunken and abyssal. Her fingers dug into the control panel, frantically typing in diagnostics, brain scans, neural readings. Anything to prove that she was still herself. The screen flickered. The pod's AI system, a standard-issue survival assistant, came to life. "Dr. Carter, your vital signs are unstable. You may be experiencing psychological distress." No, this was more than distress. She tried to speak, but the words stuck in her throat. Her reflection was still smiling. And then, a second pair of eyes opened in its forehead, black, hollow pits that stared at her from the center of her own skull. Evelyn screamed. She clawed at her forehead, desperate to feel nothing there, but the indent remained, pulsing like a second heartbeat. "You are the doorway now." Her reflection moved on its own, pressing a palm to the glass. The pod's walls shuddered. Reality shuddered. She felt it then. Something was watching her from inside, not from the black hole, not from the void, from within her own body. Evelyn's hands shook violently as she reached for the distress signal, overriding its automated message. If anyone received this, they needed to know. They needed to burn this pod before it reached Earth. Her fingers hovered over the controls. And then, the screen flickered. The distress signal had already been sent. Help was coming. For her. For them. Evelyn let out a ragged breath, sinking back against the pod's walls. There was no escape, no undoing what had been done. She wasn't Evelyn anymore. She was theirs now, and when the rescue team arrived, the door would finally open.